This is a project presentation for the senior project IT Ticketing Systems Incorporated by the group No Name Yet. I am the front end developer, David Jorgensen.
I'm also a front-end developer, Stephen Lamb.
I am the backend developer, Keelan Brenning.
And I am the other backend developer, Ricardo Escalante. So the main purpose of the help desk is to allow various users and companies to create tickets whenever they are having any kind of technical issue, whether it be simple software issues like an application not launching, or hardware issues like a monitor is not working or a printer isn't printing out a form that the employee needs. Um, they can create a ticket for this issue, which will then be assigned to one of the many technicians available that will go on to help that person that made the ticket, so to solve that issue so that they can then continue on with their day instead of being stuck trying to fix the issue themselves. This whole process can easily increase the productivity of users and the companies by decreasing the downtime of workers spending their own time trying to fix the issue at hand.
Our team chose this project as it has qualities of scalability and incorporates different technologies. By scalability, I refer to the scope of the project. It can start off with limited complexity, but can be adapted over time to better suit large scale needs. So essentially, the project can grow in terms of its feature set and its backend infrastructure to handle large amounts of users. Um, Ticketing software seems somewhat simple, but can actually be quite complex as the feature sets grow. So this project presented itself as adaptable and allowed us to cleanly divide tasks.
So when it comes to the target audience that we are trying to reach with our help desk, it's primarily any business or industry that requires or could potentially benefit from a online customer support system, ones that might have a lot of technical issues or issues that are very common. Um, as for market research, we found that a research done by Gartner shows that the spending on customer support software had reached over $48 billion in 2018. So it's a very fast and continually growing industry that can easily be joined with plenty of profit to be made. Plus, it also makes sense logically to have a digital support platform, especially because of current times with the uh, COVID pandemic. A lot of people are working from home, so they don't have a like IT technician that you might typically find in a traditional workspace at their house, so they can use something like our IT ticketing system to be linked to someone that can help them fix any types of issues that they're having.
So for the project, our main project plan was to get a website together that would be able to have a secure login for the users and the employees, as well as for the employees to create tickets for the users and employee side. So add notes to those tickets. And for the customers to be able to view the ticket updates as the text push notes so that they know what's going on, as well as a chat window to talk with the technician live if they need any other assistance.
The project itself was a full year project. So it started in the fall, where we did a significant amount of our research into the type of technologies we would be utilizing. And then over the winter break, we got our framework structure built. And finally, into the spring, we developed our structure and the majority of the features to be used and implemented. The project management for this was an agile structure, allowing for fast development pace with a low overhead on managerial requirements.
So when it came to the back end portion of the project, I was responsible for the base authentication system so that users would be able to log in and view any tickets that they had created. This was implemented quite easily with a token system that got generated whenever the user sent their login info. And then I also handled some of the ticket API routes that the front end would use to get info about various tickets that the currently login user was a part of or that they had created. This included returning tickets based on specific set of rules and filters, such as date, whether the ticket was open or closed. This was all handled in the backend via MySQL queries that then returned the data back to the front end in a JSON formatted object.
During the project, I was responsible for setting up the APIs to pull the ticket notes from the server and sending it all back through a JSON format. I was also responsible with being able to upload new notes by sending it to the Node.js server to push it to our AWS server to store it at. I also handled closing of a ticket, which just sent an update format to SQL, and I was also created a option to create new users, since new users would constantly be joining the IT ticketing system. That can only be used by the employee side, and they can add on new users as they want.
Now, for the employee side of the application, the employee will enter into the application through the login page, where they will then input their login information. In this case, their login information is Bob with their password. Then enter into the employee dashboard. The employee dashboard holds all of the tickets, which also includes a pagination feature, allowing the user to paginate to go between different pages which hold the tickets and input their own specific page. Then it also has a filtering system, allowing for the different tickets to only be displayed if they happen to have a certain type of priority. In this case, the priority is all or low, made, high, and urgent, and then their status of open, closed, or if to include all tickets. There are also sorters, allowing for an alphabetical sort based on A to Z, or from Z to A for reverse alphabetical sort. There's also a date sorting based on date created, from youngest date to the oldest date. And then we have the tickets themselves, where the tickets will then be expanded up in order to show the different notes attached to each ticket, done by either the technician or the customer. So, say the customer has the problem, characters I type aren't showing up. Let's update the ticket and state that someone is on their way over to that location in order to investigate what's going on. We then update the ticket and it's sent off to the database with a simple refresh. It'll reload the page and we see that it has been added into the database. Now, imagine that the person came back and that the information displayed to them and the issue has been resolved. So we would then put that into the text box. And then again, it is put back into the database. The employee then leaves through the log out functionality and is deposited back on the landing page.
So the customer has a dashboard available to them after they log in. Once they do so, they're presented with a list of their open tickets by default. They can also view their closed tickets in another tab. From here, they can also delete tickets if they so desire by double clicking on the trash icon, and the ticket's deleted. Refresh, no more ticket. They can also open a new ticket. From here, a modal is showed that contains all the necessary information they need to input. Let's say we're having keyboard issues with ghost presses, something along those lines. Hit submit. The page redirects us to the individual ticket page. From here, it shows a chat box that allows us to communicate with the assigned agent. From here, we can provide additional information, or the agent can provide us with updates, and these messages are in real time using WebSockets. So if we wanted to type something, hit send, messages persist in their real time. Go back to our ticket list. You can see our new issue opened here. And that's the entirety of the customer side of the application. From here, they can log out.
Now, we did have a lot of difficulties with this project. Each individual person in our group tended to have their own challenges based on their different assignments. Personally, on the front end side for the employees and the technicians, a lot of my problems came from CSS and integration. I had a lot of issues getting the look and the feel of the web page to responsively react to the user's interactions with it, as well as having the compounded problem of integrating into the backend through a node-based system using our Axios implementation for HTML calls.
I learned a lot about React and web development, what it really takes to assemble cohesive systems. One of the big challenges for me was determining where certain feature implementations needed to take place, as well as ensuring those implementations are not vulnerable to attack.
So one of the issues that I had when working on the back end was trying to get certain SQL queries working just how I wanted, returning the right data. Sometimes that can be tricky. It might not return the data that you want, or some data will be missing when it should have been there. So I kind of learned how to debug and fix those kind of issues. And then also the mixing of front end and back end. Sometimes there were inconsistencies with what front end had already done and what the back end had already done didn't match. So those kind of little miscommunications had to be fixed as well.
Some of the challenges that I encountered when doing this project mainly came down to the querying in Node.js. I had a lot of syntax errors when I would test the actual query itself on at the SQL server, and it would work, but in Node.js it would throw an error. So I spent a lot of time trying to get the formatting correct, and being able to send back the correct data that the front end requested, as well as making sure that I'm receiving the data that the front end is also sending, since that was also one of my problems that I was encountering. So for the future of this project, we want to continue working on it and improve a lot of the features that we have right now, as well as add new ones. The reasoning for this is that we want to have a full working project with all the bells and whistles that we would be able to show off to our next employer as a project that we have worked on, which will be able to showcase what we spent a whole year working on, as well as the ability to show us that we can work with a group. So let's start off with the backend. So for the backend, me and Ricardo we want to spend some time refactoring the code and restructuring everything. Just because since right now it's just all on one page, there's a lot we can do with that, which will make it easier to read, as well as easy to add new features since we'll have a better structure for the backend. As it comes for the front end, they want to work on implementing a lot more features, just so it give more information for the user, as well as give more information to the employer. One of the big ones we want to do is actually get the project on a live service, the back end on the Node.js server on an actual server, and we want to get the front end on a working server too, so that anyone can access it at any time.